Walters is located just down the street from Audi Field. Visit Walters before and after DC Defenders games. Next one is this Sunday at 4 o'clock.
We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. That's Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
To Texas. Breaking ball line toward left. That's down for a base hit. Vargas around third being waved home. Carter's throw is going to be not in time. On a single to left by Alex Cole. He drives in his first run this year in the big leagues. And the Nationals, like they did last night, score first. It's Washington 1, Texas nothing. Center fielder Young shading left center, a gap open in right center. Here's the pitch. Swinging a chopping ground ball toward short. Abrams has it. He'll throw across to Meneses in time for the out, and the inning is over. What a job by Trevor Williams. 3 hits to start the inning, load the bases, and he follows up getting the next 3 batters to retire the side. Here's Evan Carter. Swings and pops the first pitch up. Behind second, shallow center. Abrams under it. He makes the catch for the out. Another Houdiniac for Trevor Williams, and walks across the rope to the other side with his hands tied behind his back. He gets out of a bases loaded no out jam for the second time in 5 innings.
And welcome to Nats Chat for Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. Along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman, who is at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. 33 years ago Wednesday, May 1st, 1991, was when 44-year-old Nolan Ryan threw his major league record 7th career regular season no-hitter and became the oldest player in Major League history to throw a no-hitter. Ryan did this while pitching for the Texas Rangers. The Nats on Wednesday night were at the Rangers for Game 2 of a 3-game series. And while I would not put what the Nats pitching did on Wednesday night on quite the same level as what Nolan Ryan did 33 years ago, the Nats pitching on Wednesday night was impressive. A 1-0 win at the Rangers as starting pitcher Trevor Williams and 4 Nats relievers combined on a 6-hit shutout to get the Nats to 15-15 in this regular season. This installment of the Nats Chat podcast brought to us by Table to Mat, which you can count on for all of your nutrition and personal training needs. Table to Mat offers virtual and in-person nutrition services and personal training to the DMV area. You can email Table to Mat directly through the website tabletomat.com. You can call Table to Mat at 240-388-2206. That's the word table, the number 2, MAT.com. Mark Trevor Williams on Wednesday night, 5 scoreless innings. He did this despite giving up 5 hits and issuing 4 walks. He did this despite in 2 separate innings having the bases loaded with no outs. I'm still not sure how he did what he did, but he did what he did.
He did it out with an 88-mile-an-hour fastball that I think even Nolan Ryan would have to be amazed by, because I remember watching, I think that night in particular, but watching Nolan Ryan a lot during those years. I was a huge fan of his. I don't think he even, threw a changeup at 88 miles an hour. I think he was going way beyond that, well into his 40s. So a little different style from Trevor Williams in this one than the Ryan Express used to go with. But you know what? It's effective. He's been getting the job done. We're 6 starts into this thing now, and he's got a 2.27 ERA. And the most remarkable thing of all, he has not given up a home run yet. He's got the longest streak without giving up a home run of any starter in the majors right now at 39 innings going back to last September. I don't know how he's doing it, but he has clearly made some adjustments and is pitching really effectively. And wow, has that been both unexpected, but a great thing to see for this team.
It is jaw-dropping what the Nats are getting from Trevor Williams, and we say that with a recognition of the peripherals do not overwhelm you. And I think, if you're looking at this and saying to yourself, this isn't going to last, I don't think that you're wrong to say that. But whatever, what he's doing, he is doing. You can't take that away from him. And man, has he been effective for the Nats so far. So Trevor Williams on Wednesday night, 5 scoreless innings. Like I said, he does this despite giving up 5 hits and issuing 4 walks. He also recorded just 3 strikeouts. He also threw a lot of balls, 79 pitches, 45 strikes, 34 balls. But all 5 of the hits that he allowed were singles, and he had this magician-like nature to his outing to where he escaped these jams. He escaped 2 bases-loaded no-out jams without giving up a run. Williams tossed a scoreless bottom of the second despite having the bases loaded with no outs as he began the inning by giving up 3 consecutive singles. Williams tossed a scoreless bottom of the third despite issuing back-to-back 2-out walks. Williams tossed a scoreless bottom of the fifth despite having the bases loaded with no outs as he began that inning by giving up back-to-back singles and then issuing a walk. And so Trevor Williams now for this regular season, Mark just mentioned it, ERA at 2.27. The whip is at 1.17. And yeah, he has not given up a home run. This off for last regular season, giving up a National League worst 34 home runs. And the Nationals put this out on Wednesday night. He has not allowed a home run over his first 6 starts this regular season. That is 1 start shy of the Nationals' record for most starts to begin a campaign without giving up a home run. Gio Gonzalez did not give up a home run over each of his first 7 starts of the 2012 regular season. It is something. I mean, objectively speaking, just from a results standpoint, not from a process standpoint, but from a results standpoint, Trevor Williams has been this team's best starting pitcher this season.
Yeah, he absolutely has. Now, here's the thing. I get what you're saying about the peripherals make you say this can't continue at this rate. And I do agree with you. But the one thing I'll say is this. The hits he's giving up are not rockets. He's not giving up drives to the warning track that are being caught. He's not getting like unreal defense behind him. It's weak contact for the most part. And I think there's something to be said for that. He is keeping the ball down in the zone, mixing up a bunch of different pitches, and avoiding those kind of loud contact that got him into so much trouble last year. Doesn't mean he can continue that forever, but I think if there's any reason to think he can sustain this to any extent, I think it would be the fact that it has been such soft contact, that his command has been that good. If you're going to be throwing 88 miles an hour, you better hit your targets with pinpoint precision. He's done that. He's mixed in a bunch of off-speed pitches and really kept them off balance. I mean, these are good hitters he was staring down in this game, and none of them look comfortable up there against him.
All he has to do is be good through July, and then the Nats can trade him in this contract season. That's all you got to do, Trev. Just be good through July, and then we will shake your hand and pat you on the back and commend you for a job well done. But is Trevor Williams pitching his way into being a viable trade chip for the Nats? That would be something. Now, Davey Martinez, during his postgame session with you guys on Wednesday night, referenced work Williams did in the offseason to get better off having fatigued as last season went on.
He spent all winter and really revamping the way his routine is and how he gets himself prepared, and it's paying off for him.
Do we know what that work was? Do we know what Williams has done to be so much more effective, at least so far this season?
I think it's less to do with pitching and more to do with just keeping his body, getting his body into shape to withstand the rigors of starting every 5th day. I mean, it was clear that he wore down as last season went on, and he knew it, and there's only so much you can do in the moment. I think he recommitted himself this winter to getting himself in the best shape that he can, and you're seeing the benefits of that. Now, again, they're also doing what they can to keep him out of tough spots. I mean, they're pulling him at the first sign of trouble. 5 innings, good, get out of there. We're not going to let you go really much beyond 80 to 90 pitches. They're okay with that. By sort of pulling the plug before he has a chance for it to all fall apart on him, I think you're setting him up, putting him in good spots in situations not to have, things go awry against you. So I think it's that. But I think the work he did this offseason, honestly, is more strength-wise. It's physical conditioning. as opposed to pitching. Now, again, he is pitching better. He's keeping the ball down in the zone. I think that's part of it. The command has been a lot better, but I think there's a physical element to this as well. It's not just as simple as, well, he's making better pitches this time around.
It's interesting. We saw Josiah Gray last season make great strides of having allowed so many home runs the previous 2 seasons to allowing fewer homers last season. And now we see Trevor Williams doing something similar this season. So certainly props to Williams and props to the Nats coaching. You know, Jim Hickey, perhaps some things are being taught and are being instructed to where we're seeing improvement here from Trevor Williams.
Swing for the fences this summer and hire Table to Mat for all your nutrition and personal training needs. Being healthy and having fun do not have to be mutually exclusive. Table to Mat specializes in making healthy lifestyles enjoyable and sustainable. Are you experiencing headaches, stomach discomfort, or want to lose weight? Find out how your food choices and exercise impact how you feel physically and mentally. We offer virtual and in-person nutrition services and personal training to the DMV area. With over a decade working in our fields, we bring experience and passion to help you be the best version of yourself. You can email us directly through our website at tabletomat.com or call us at 240-388-2206. That's the word table, the number 2, MAT.com.
Hey guys, it's Al Galdi for Window Nation, which has another great deal for listeners of the Nats Chat podcast. 50% off all window styles plus 0% interest for 5 years and an additional bonus if you schedule an appointment this week. This offer is good throughout this month of May. Window Nation windows are the best. Increase the value, look, and feel of your home. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com and tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast. Window Nation can install your new windows in a day or less. Window Nation's windows come with a lifetime warranty. Get a free, no obligation quote now. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90NATION or windownation.com and tell Window Nation that Al Galdi sent ya.
Tim Shovers here to tell you about Game Time. This summer at Jiffy Lube Live, acts include Neil Young, Hank Williams Jr., and Chris Stapleton. If you're interested in finding tickets to any of these shows, make sure to check out the Game Time app. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. See the view from your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code NATSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code NATSCHAT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 outs. Here's the set. And the pitch. Swing and a miss. He blew it by him at 99 miles an hour. Down goes Garcia. The Nationals hold the lead after 7. Huge fastball, big strikeout. The Rangers strand 2. They've left 10 on base tonight.
The Nats bullpen on Wednesday night was great. The bullpen was not good in the 7-1 loss at the Rangers on Tuesday night, but the Nats bullpen on Wednesday night, terrific. 4 Nats relievers combined for 4 scoreless innings with 6 strikeouts. Derek Law tossed a perfect bottom of the 6th. Dylan Floro in the bottom of the 7th faced 3 batters and got 2 outs. Hunter Harvey tossed 1 1/3 scoreless innings with 2 strikeouts. And then Kyle Finnegan came into the game and was superb. A perfect bottom of the 9th with 3 swinging strikeouts for the save. A dominant outing from Kyle Finnegan. And the 3 strikeouts were of the Rangers' numbers 9 through 1 batters, and Leody Taveras, Marcus Semien, and Corey Seager. Awesome work by the Nats bullpen. Finnegan was great, and you on X noted something about us seeing Dylan Floro in the 7th inning on Wednesday night.
Yeah, that's been the spot for Jordan Weems most of the time here to start the year. Floro has pitched really well. He's got the ERA under 1 at this point. And I even asked Davey the other day, would you maybe start to see him in some more high leverage spots? And he kind of indicated that might be the case. Well, there you go. Not to say that this is permanent, that he's taken over the seventh inning role, but in this case, it made sense to use him. He has been very good. Every pitcher they put out there on the mound in this game has an ERA under 3. So they're getting this from a lot of different guys. And I'll tell you what, Kyle Finnegan, you get skewed so much your perception because of one bad week to start the year. Ever since then, he has been lights out. He's 10 of 11 in save opportunities now. His ERA is 2.03. He has not given up a hit, I think, in his last 7 appearances. So we know at times he can be successful, but still dance that dance that you're a little bit nervous about him. There's been no reason to be worried about him here in several weeks. He has been lights out, and that was a fantastic performance in a game in which you have zero margin for error, and you're facing a couple of guys who can tie the game with one swing. And what I liked about him in this one, 3 strikeouts, 2 of them came on a splitter, 1 of them came on his sweeper, the new pitch he's added this year. The fact he has 3 different pitches he can go to get guys out, I think makes a difference. It's helping make him a more complete pitcher, and it's been great to see what he's done now, really for everything but that first week of the season.
That really was one of the best outings I think we've seen Finnegan have. He was a dominant presence on Wednesday night. Like, that's what you see from the elite closers, that kind of an outing. Get in, get out, 3 swinging strikeouts, the swing and miss stuff. I mean, that was beautiful to see that from Kyle Finnegan.
Yeah, and, he can be that guy. It's just a matter of putting it all together. And I think the third pitch, the sweeper, I think makes a difference there. It just keeps the hitters off balance enough to know they have to, in the back of their minds, think about something else. He's getting ahead with fastballs and then can turn to the off-speed stuff. And I can't emphasize this enough. In a 1-0 game, okay, there is no margin for error. And how many times have we seen somebody come in and they either fall behind 3-1 or they walk a batter, and now you're facing an uphill climb? Instead, he was in control from the get-go, never even gave the Rangers a reason to think they were going to come back and win this game.
Well, if there was a negative for the Nats on Wednesday night, it was the offense, which for a second time in 2 games in this series did not do much. The Nats have scored 1 run in each game in this series. The Nats on Wednesday night, 1 run, just 5 hits, no walks, 1 for 2 with runners in scoring position. The Nats over 2 games in this series have not drawn a single walk. The Nats 5 hits on Wednesday night comprised of a double and 4 singles. The lone run of the game, courtesy of Alex Call. He is the Nats starting right fielder and number 6 batter, 1 for 3 with an RBI single. Call in a Nats 1-run second, a 1-out RBI single to left field on a 1-2 pitch for a 1-0 Nats lead that ended up holding up for the rest of the game. Scoring on that RBI single was Ildemaro Vargas. He is the Nats starting second baseman and number 5 batter, went 1 for 3 with a double. Vargas in that Nats 1-run second, a 1-out double off the left center field wall on an 0-2 pitch. Consider this, Ildemaro Vargas now for this regular season, 60 plate appearances, a .400 on-base percentage. We've talked about this previously, but Vargas, when he plays, is productive. He's a Davey Martinez favorite. You can see why. The guy does hit, and he is hitting so far this season.
And he's slugging as well. After that double, I think he's slugging .450 on the season. So he has double power, and that was a nice one there for him in this game. I mean, you stop and you look at the lineup going into this game, and you're saying Ildemaro Vargas is your 5-hitter and Alex Call is your 6-hitter. I don't think that's the way they planned it out at the start of the season. I don't think that's something they want to be doing regularly. But right now, between injuries and what the matchups are, that's where Davey went. And look, that combination worked for them in this one. Vargas, when used properly, and he's doing well from the right side of the plate. I think that's key. You're seeing him get the starts over Luis Garcia, who's been good this year, but it's kind of been a platoon there, and Vargas is getting the starts against lefties, and it's favorable matchups. He's taking advantage of it. And Alex Call, it's only a couple of games since he was brought back up. He's done a nice job so far. I don't know if there's any reason to think that that's going to continue. This is somebody I feel like we've seen enough of the last couple of years to know what he is, and the idea that he would suddenly become a different hitter. I'm not feeling that very likely to be the case, but good for him for coming through in the spots when he's been given this opportunity. And they needed it because they, once again, had nothing else going on at the plate. I mean, that was the one at bat with a runner in scoring position against Haney. I think later they had one more in the game in the 7th inning. Otherwise, nobody in scoring position, 0 walks drawn, as you said. That's got to get better. You cannot win games with that kind of approach at the plate.
No, especially when you don't hit home runs. You're not going to hit homers. You're not going to draw walks. That's a bad combination. That's a combination that plagued the Nats last season. Interesting, Nick Senzel was the designated hitter for a second consecutive game. Obviously, some guys being injured right now has something to do with that. But Senzel, we know, has been hitting. Went 0 for 3 on Tuesday night, but 2 for 4 on Wednesday night with a couple of singles. But yeah, I mean, you look at that lineup, Joey Meneses as the cleanup batter. He continues to be way overslotted in that spot. You said it, Vargas in the 5 spot, Call in the 6 spot. It's not what you're looking for. It's not ideal, but they figure out a way to get the win here. Also, it's standing out too, and I guess the injuries again play into this, but for all the talk about where will Trey Lipscomb play, he is kind of settling into playing at third base just like he did during his initial stint at the major league level.
Right. Remember, he had the one game at first base when he first came up, and we thought, oh, well, that's where he's going to be now. How's that going to work out? And then the Gallo injury kind of created this different scenario. Senzel started hitting so much that he merits being in there, but I think they feel like Lipscomb's the better defensive third baseman. And so Senzel's basically become the regular DH all of a sudden with Lipscomb at third. And I'll be interested to see if that continues or if they find a way to put Senzel back in the field. And then where are you going to put Lipscomb? I mean, they've got 2 other guys playing second base, so I don't see him doing anything there. Maybe Meneses gets a day off and Lipscomb gets another start at first. He's not doing a whole lot at the plate. He's played pretty good defense, had an error the other night, but had some nice plays in this one. Look, I think right now they're piecing it together. I know they were off to rough starts, a lot of these other guys, but I do think they missed Lane Thomas and Joey Gallo, their presence in the lineup. They're forcing a whole bunch of other guys into spots they probably should not be in right now. They got away with it in Miami. They got away with it in this game. Long range, they are going to need some of these guys to be back just to put the lineup in a better spot and put people in positions where they should have a better chance of succeeding.
The best way to learn a language? Immersion. Living where the language is spoken and using it every day. But if that's not in the cards this year, you could still learn a language the second best way, and that's with Babbel. Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons are handcrafted by over 200 language experts to help you start speaking a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Here's a special deal for our listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners for a limited time at babbel.com/natschat. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/natschat. That's spelled BABBEL.com/natschat. Rules and restrictions may apply.
We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. That's Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Playoff time is your time to join the Prize Picks community of over 5 million members who have already downloaded the app. You can make your first $10 deposit and receive an instant $10 bonus. If you have the skills, you can play for a shot at turning that $10 into $1,000. Star players mean more on Prize Picks. Keep an eye out for starred players on the board, and you could receive a 10% payout boost if they're in your winning lineup. This week on Prize Picks, I'm looking at the playoff basketball board and selecting Joker and Luka to each have more than 50 points, rebounds, and assists combined as they dominate the playoffs. And I can't wait to have Caitlin Clark's three-pointers made stat in my lineup when the women's basketball season tips off in May. Download the app today and use code BLUEWIRE for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code BLUEWIRE for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with Prize Picks.
Here's your James Wood update for the game played on Wednesday night as the Rochester Red Wings defeated the Syracuse Mets 2-1. Wood went 1 for 4 on the evening. He hit third. He began the game in left field, moved over to center field, struck out once. He's hitting .323 on the season with an OPS at .902. Now back to the show.
Big lead again. The kick, there he goes. The pitch is way upstairs. The throw to second, the slide, the tag. Did he come off? He did. And Young is out at second base. He may have beaten the play in Corey Seager's tag, trying to go to the outside, and Young questioning the call of Alan Porter, the second base umpire, as to whether he had a path to the bag.
Also on Wednesday night, the streak did come to an end. Jacob Young, he on Wednesday night as the Nats starting center fielder and number 9 batter, 1 for 3 with an infield single, but he was thrown out in an attempted steal of second base. Young in the top of the 9th, a leadoff infield single on a grounder toward third base, but he was thrown out in an attempted steal of second base, ending a streak of 25 consecutive successful stolen base attempts to begin his major league regular season career. Now, this was interesting. Young actually beat the throw to second base, initially appeared to have overslid the bag, but if you watch the replay, it sure looked like he got pushed off the bag by the glove of shortstop Corey Seager. I guess that is legal, kind of a smart thing for Seager to do, but it's kind of funny. Young really wasn't thrown out. Like, he actually was his own worst enemy. He overslid the bag, or you could say he got pushed off the bag, and that's how that streak finally ended.
Right. He beat the throw, clearly. And unfortunately, in those scenarios, you're still called out. Unless you beat the throw and then you try to get up and start towards third and they tag you out, you don't get credit for the stolen base just because you beat the throw. It's an unfortunate way for the streak to end. Davey did go out there and talk to Alan Porter afterwards, just kind of questioning about the play. And it's a tough call, bang, bang, heat of the moment and all that. I think it was legal what Seager did, if a little bit frustrating. You'd hate to see the streak end that way. But that was going to be a big base. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, if they could find some way to scratch out another run here and make it a 2-0 cushion instead of 1-0. So as soon as Jacob Young gets on, you're thinking, of course, he's got to get himself in scoring position for Abrams and Senzel, and he nearly did it. But that's how fine the line is at this level. He's been great, obviously, but to be perfect, you can't have any little slip-ups, and he did have that one little slip-up there.
It's so funny to me watching a 1-0 game at the Rangers. The Rangers historically are an offensive team playing games at the Rangers, Arlington, Texas, the Heat, etc. You think about, the slugfest. You think about, back in the day when we talked about Nolan Ryan, but back when, they had Rafael Palmeiro and Jose Canseco and Juan Gonzalez and Pudge Rodriguez. And, even now the Rangers are a formidable team, won the World Series last year, have plenty of good batters. A 1-0 final at Texas. I almost feel like Texas is the equivalent of the Colorado Rockies in the National League. It's not quite the same thing, but there's this perpetual nature of high octane offense for the Rangers playing games at Texas. And the Nats somehow pieced together a 1-0 win on Wednesday night. Pretty funny.
Yeah. Now, the one thing, this new ballpark, it is bigger in the outfield than the old one was. The old one was a launching pad, especially in the heat of the summer. This one with a roof on top and a little bit bigger dimensions, it seems like it's been a little tougher to hit the ball out of the park. But no, I agree. All night I'm thinking there's no way this is going to be a 1-0 game. That's not going to happen like that. Well, it was, and it was the Nats' first 1-0 win since 2022 and their first 1-0 road win since 2017. So this is not something we see very often. And you're right, to do it in this park against this team, the defending world champs, that's an impressive win, I guess. If they end up losing that game 2-1, you're really frustrated because the offense was so lackluster again. But more power to them on a night when their pitching staff and their defense had zero margin for error. They made zero errors. They played flawless baseball. And at the end of the night, as tense as that was, it was really fun to watch.
And this bizarro discrepancy, home versus away, now continues. We mentioned the Nats being 15-15. That's made up of being 11-7 on the road versus 4-8 at home. Now, competition, you could say, has something to do with that with the 4 games at the Marlins, but 11-7 on the road. The Nats have one of the best road records in the majors. That is something. And if they could just be a little bit better at home, you'd be talking about a winning record.
Well, and they did this last year. They were better on the road as well. So it's not just some fluky thing for the first month this season. And we saw they had, road series wins at the Dodgers, at the Giants, a chance for one here if they win again on Thursday to do it to the Rangers. Yeah, I mean, as we talked the other night, they're playing 500 ball, which is great. You're really pleased with that. But there's also this feeling of like, boy, just a couple of little things go in the opposite direction, and they could have a legitimate winning record right now and be in the thick of it. And to circle back to what you were saying earlier about Trevor Williams and creating a trade market for himself, are you really going to trade him if you're in the middle of the wild card race, Al?
I actually think you should. I think that's a fun conversation, but I actually think you should. I think there's a process that you have to stick to, but I know that will make for some juicy conversation come the summer. But I look forward to that conversation and would love to have that as a dilemma. But I do think if you're in the midst of a rebuild, you don't abandon that just for the sake of a wild card spot. Because look, you could still make the wild card even if you trade Trevor Williams. So he's going to be a free agent. The likelihood of him being re-signed is really low. If he's pitching well and you can turn that into a prospect or prospects, boy, I think it's hard to turn that down. I think you still have to think big picture.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. We've seen a few teams in recent years who weren't supposed to contend and all of a sudden they were, find themselves in that, odd position. Are we buyers? Are we sellers? And sometimes they did both. Like the Orioles a couple of years ago sold some veterans, but then also tried to buy in an attempt to stay in the race. So it makes for an interesting dilemma. Long way to go till we get there, but I get what you're saying. And I think, especially if they have some healthy young starters, if Cade Cavalli, Josiah Gray are pitching at that point, you may have the luxury of being able to still trade someone like Trevor Williams, who doesn't figure into the long-term plan while not necessarily sacrificing a whole lot right now.
Yeah, the Orioles thing was interesting. That was 2022. They traded Trey Mancini and Jorge Lopez, got killed by a lot of people for doing that. Turned out to be 100% the right call. Look up what happened with Mancini and Lopez since the O's traded those guys. So you can trade the guys, still end up being good. And again, I think you have to stick to that long-term plan. But it's nice to be able to talk like this. And I am happy to see Trevor Williams doing as he is doing. And let's hope that he can continue this at least through July. Please, Trevor. All right. So the Nats can win this series. They can put forth another series win. We have game 3 for the Nats at the Rangers on Thursday afternoon at 2:35. Another nice story for the Nats this season. Mitchell Parker will be the Nats starting pitcher. So this will be start number 4 for Mitchell Parker. His last outing was his worst outing. Now, he only allowed 1 run, but he only lasted for 4 innings. He threw 82 pitches over the 4 innings. This was that 11-4 win at the Miami Marlins last Saturday. So, we're continuing to accumulate data here on Mitchell Parker, seeing what the Nats have in this guy. At some point, Josiah Gray is going to be back. We're not sure exactly when, but, it'll be interesting to see where Parker is at that point. Does he stay in the rotation? But it certainly feels like every outing right now for Parker is an opportunity to assert himself and to make his case for staying in the major league rotation.
Yeah, and this is a big one for him. You're coming off your first one that didn't go, incredibly well as the first 2 did for him. You're facing a tough lineup, as we said, in the Rangers. So I want to see, how does he handle that? Can he continue to throw strikes the way that he did in those first 2 starts? He struggled more with the command in Miami. The pitch count got really high and he was pulled after 4 innings. So how does he respond to that? I think that's the first good real test of a young rookie pitcher. Do you deal with some adversity and can you make the adjustments that are needed? And then if you're the lineup, give him some run support, guys. 1 run on 3-4 hits, 0 walks. That's not a real good way to try to be successful in this league. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they will not win Thursday's game 1-0. I think to win this one, they're going to need to score at least a little bit more than that.
At least 2 runs. Give us 2 runs, Nats, and we can maybe talk about a series win. This installment of the Nats Chat podcast has been brought to us by Table to Mat, which you can count on for all of your nutrition and personal training needs. Table to Mat offers virtual and in-person nutrition services and personal training to the DMV area. You can email at Table to Mat directly through the website tabletomat.com. That's the word table, the number 2, MAT.com. You also can call Table to Mat 240-388-2206. You can hit us up on X at Nats_chat. You can email the show, natschatpodcast @gmail.com, including if you would like to put forth a shout out, someone who you care about, hit up Tim Shovers, see what we can do for you in that regard. The Nats Chat Podcast shout out. Again, that email address, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. We have a YouTube channel we invite you to check out. Just search Nats Chat on YouTube. Our YouTube handle is @Nats Chat Podcast. Also, we have a website that you can check out, natschatpodcast.com. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat Podcast.
Here's the pitch. And a swing and a miss. He struck him out, and a Curly W's in the books. Seager losing the bat. It went to the backstop as the ball was squeezed by Riley Adams. He puts that one to the hands of Kyle Finnegan, who gets it done with a 1-2-3 inning, striking out the side of the ninth for his 10th save of the year. A Curly W's in the books with a shutout win in Texas. Final score, the Nationals 1, the Rangers 0.